Try to get a chance to introduce you. So, Renee Bryant, who's the executive director of the Fern Creek Highview United Ministries. Also, thank you for your work. I don't know if you want to say anything or.
Just want to reiterate our great thanks. Food has truly been a need coming through this season, and if we can just help people remember that people eat 24/7, 365 days a year. So again, thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you both for the tremendous work you do across our community. I think you fill such a need for people in all 26 districts in every corner of the county, and really grateful for the work that you do and glad that we're able to support you. So I mentioned that the ACM has been a partner of this from the beginning, but they're not the only one. When we started this in 2023, Kroger really was the first one to reach out and offer help and has done so every year since. And I'd like to introduce Josh Harthold, the Louisville Division President, to share a little bit about Kroger's participation this year.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and community leaders and partners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and for your continued leadership on behalf of Louisville. As Louisville's hometown grocer for nearly 100 years, Kroger has had the privilege of growing alongside this community, and that history makes moments like this especially meaningful. We know this has been a challenging year for many families across our city. Rising costs and increased demand for basic needs have created critical needs throughout the community. For almost a century, Kroger has been here in both good times and difficult ones. And we believe showing up during moments like these is part of our responsibility as a hometown partner. Through the generosity of our customers, associates, and partners, the Kroger Louisville Division is proud to present this $10,000 donation to the Association of Community Ministries. In addition, our holiday food drive is hosted at 10 Kroger locations across Jefferson and Oldham counties has helped collect essential food items that will be distributed through ACM's network of local services and agencies. Each donation represents neighbors helping neighbors, and we are honored to help support families during the winter season. This initiative builds on the momentum of Louisville's Metro Council citywide food drive, and we are grateful to work collectively with the council, UPS, and ACM to expand its impact. Partnerships like this reflect the strength of Louisville when businesses, nonprofits, and local government come together around shared priorities. Our commitment to Louisville extends well beyond today's presentation. We are excited to continue investing in our hometown through the opening of our new Beulah Crossing store, along with remodels at several locations, including our 28th and Broadway store. We are also continuing to increase our investment in wages for our associates and expanding our community outreach efforts, because supporting the people who live and work here strengthens the entire community. For nearly 100 years, Kroger has been proud to call Louisville home. And when we remain committed to serving this city with care, consistency, and purpose. Thank you to the Louisville Metro Council, the Association of Community Ministries, UPS, and to our customers and associates who made this impact possible. We look forward to continuing to serve and invest in Louisville for generations to come.
We've got something else to share first, and then colleagues will ask you all to join us down here. We'll take some pictures. So, Josh, I'd like to recognize Kroger. We've got one of these from the UPS Foundation as well, who helped partner with us, but I'll just read the Kroger one today. So we've got a proclamation for your support. The Louisville Metro Council, to all whom these letters shall come, greetings. know ye that the Louisville Metro Council, in deep spirit of gratitude, honors the Kroger Company Louisville Division. Whereas the Kroger Company Louisville Division has participated in the Metro Council Holiday Food Drive since its inception in 2023, and whereas they have donated tens of thousands of dollars during that time to the Association of Community Ministries in support of their mission to provide food and support to individuals and families in need. And whereas they have supplemented this money, their donations this year by collecting food at 10 Kroger locations across Louisville. And whereas their efforts to help make the most basic needs of people in our community make a real difference in the lives of many this holiday season. Now therefore be it resolved that the Louisville Metro Council hereby confers and pays tribute by way of this proclamation with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. In testimony, we have caused these letters to be made and the seal of Metro government to be ground to affixed, done in Louisville Metro City Hall within the Commonwealth of Kentucky this 16th day of December 2025, and it's signed by all 26 of us. So thank you so much. I'll give you that. And then maybe if you can join us here in the well, we'll have the ministries come join us. And while you all are gathering up there, everybody can go ahead and get up, but I just want to take a quick point of personal privilege just to say, this effort really takes a ton of work to go out, go on all these sites, drop off the bins, collect them, and I really owe a deep debt of gratitude to my aide, Tim Edley, who, in all honesty, did all this work by himself. I did not help him at all. And really, it made me realize, and I owe an apology to Brian Powell, who did this for the 2 years prior. And so I did not have an appreciation for how much work it was. Either that's a testament to how much complaining Brian did, or just that I'm more aware. But I want to thank both Brian and Kip publicly for their work doing this. I mean, it really is a testament to both of you and all of the good that you've done. So thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
And colleagues, on behalf of all of us, I want to say thank you to Marcus for keeping this program going and taking the lead on making it happen. Thank you, Marcus. Councilman Hawkins, I believe you take this.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Today, I want to present this proclamation on behalf of the family of the late Raymond O. Parks. Raymond O. Parks was a devoted community leader, civil rights advocate, veteran, and a mentor whose life was rooted in service, justice, and love for his community. And he served as president of the Parkland Alliance Association and YMCA executive in Dayton, Nashville, and Woodville, and co-founder and president of the Goodman's Club, dedicating his life to uplifting and others. And Mr. Parks currently marched with the Dr. Martin Luther King, mentor of civil rights leader Reverend Louis Coleman. He was a long-time resident of 1122 South 26th Street, a home that stood as a symbol of his deep roots and steadfast presence in the Parkland neighborhood. And he stood boldly against the 1986 closure of the Parkland Library, urging this library not to close after decades of now reopening. Mr. Parks honorably served as a United States veteran, a trusted of huge community advocate, was nominated for the Civil Rights Hall of Fame, and he was a beloved husband of Crowley Parks, father to the late Raymond Parks Jr., and cherished uncle to Kathleen Parks and Noah Bullock. We honor and celebrate the life and legacy of Raymond O. Parks, whose courage, foresight, and service continue to shape the Parkland community and inspire generations to come. So today, I want to honor Ms. Parks, his niece, and his family on behalf of District 1. Ms. Parks, would you like to come up and say some words?
Good evening, Honorable President of the Metro Council. You've seen my face before. You know we ran against each other. She's doing an awesome job. So is Shanika Parrish Wright and many others that serve on the council. This is a wonderful moment for us today. My uncle, he was a fighter. He was an activist, and he was a community leader. We need more individuals like himself. I want to say that I truly appreciate this honor to my late uncle. I know he's looking over us today. Very proudly, I'm not only Councilwoman Hawkins, but my cousin and all of you that are here serving Louisville. I want to say that I look forward to being in dialogue with each and every one of you as we move West Louisville ahead for the future in a positive manner. Thank you so much for this honor. I also greatly appreciate that.
These are 5 copies of the proclamation as requested by Commissioner Parks. And she will make sure that the family members get these. And so, I won't read them all because, Councilwoman Hawkins did a great job reading the main proclamation. But these, we're honored to be here. I got to work with the late Louis Coleman, and I got to meet your uncle, and also my husband and I had a reception at the Uranus Club. So we have been very committed to the community because of their example. And I just want to tell you thank you. It's an honor to be brought in last minute to do this.
All right. Thank you so much.
I would like everyone to come and take a picture.
One, two, three.
Emma Lucille, you got it? You got it?
She's part of our family also. She practically raised me.
And there it is.
Colleagues, I also want to recognize we have our Chief Deputy from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office here, Colonel Steve Keeler. We appreciate you being here. Madam Clerk, are there any addresses to the council?
Yes, sir, there are.
Let's see here. Let me remind those who are addressing the council, please refrain from using profanity or addressing individual council members. Additionally, we are limited, pursuant to council rules, to 3 speakers on any particular issue, being a pro or con. So we have 3 cons, 3 pros, but other than that, they're limited to 3 per topic. Madam Clerk, please call the first speaker.
Jean Christensen.
Good evening. I'm Jean Christensen, Professor Emeritus from the University of Louisville, retired. We have a hyperscale data center coming to Louisville, scheduled to open in 2026. Unfortunately, no special rules were in place relevant to data centers when the construction permit was issued. New ordinances will not affect retroactively. Here are some of what we know about the project. It will be located in Rubbertown, a hub for more than a dozen chemical and industrial facilities that produce a variety of projects detrimental to the residents who are disproportionately low income and people of color. They already experience air pollution, odors, and potential health impacts like higher risks for cancer. At full capacity, the data center's campus will need 400 megawatts of power to operate, equivalent to the annual power usage of 26% of Metro Louisville's residences. In addition to high energy use, data centers require continuous water and air cooling for the equipment. They create noise and light pollution and use loud and dirty diesel generators for backup power. However, when data centers are built to high standards, these negative effects can be greatly reduced. Consider the fact that across the river in Jeffersonville, Indiana, another hyperscale data center is being built by Meta, Facebook's parent company. It will be sited in the River Ridge Commercial Center, that is, in an industrial park, not near a residential neighborhood. Meta's buildings will be certified as LEED Gold. These buildings will have earned points based on design, construction, operation, and maintenance plans. Furthermore, such buildings must demonstrate exemplary performance in energy and water efficiency, lighting, and maintenance sustainability. And the Jefferson Data Center will be powered by 100% renewable solar energy through a power purchase as agreement at a solar facility in Pike County, Indiana. Future data center projects in Kentucky can be built using LEED certification criteria and be powered by 100% green energy obtained through power purchase agreements. We need and deserve to have the best environmental protections be written into our planning and zoning regulations. And because of the newness and complexity of the issues, once the ordinances are drafted, we need to have an extended comment period to allow for thorough review by the Metro Council and by the community at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Eric Rogers.
Hello, my name is Gary Wyfers. I live in the 5th Council District, Louisville. I'm an architect specializing in energy efficient design, and I'm a member of the Renewable Energy Alliance of Louisville. I'm here to say also some information about data centers, and I hope I don't repeat too much of what Jean has already said, but I do want to talk about data centers and what we know, what we don't know, and what we want to know. We know that a data center is a huge building full of computers. We know these computers need huge amounts of electricity to operate. We know they need to be cooled using huge amounts of electricity and water. And we know Kentucky has cheap coal-fired electricity and abundant water, so a data center tidal wave is coming to Kentucky. We know that you all have already approved the data center in South Louisville that will need 400 megawatts of electricity, enough to equal half the power needed by all of Jefferson County homes. We know that the Meta company is building a data center in southern Indiana and will produce all of its own electricity from solar. And we know that your constituents, and possibly you, have little knowledge of the impact data centers may have on their electric bills. But your constituents will be shocked, pun intended, when they find out that when they find out what the bills are, and the bills are already going up, as you know, it's one of the national issues. And I think people will want to make this a campaign issue in the future. The president of Pittsburgh Power and Light, which is the owner of it, LG&E, said that, in quotes, data centers will more than triple its peak electrical demand by 2030. Triple by 2030. Can you imagine that? But what we don't know is whether or not you will give this issue a fair hearing when you get the report from planning and zoning. And what we want is for you to engage with your constituents on the impacts of the upcoming planning and zoning report for a consultation period of at least 6 months. This important issue does not need to be given a bum's rush. We want you to ask the question. The question is the benefit to your constituents from tax revenues from data centers canceled out by the increased cost of the electrical bills and water bills of your constituents? And finally, if you approve new requirements for data centers, we want you to require them to be powered, like Meta, with renewable solar energy. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Eric Sinnott.
Regarding current issues that affect the populace of Louisville and me. Hello, thank you, and for being here tonight to visit me in my public institution. My name is Eric Sinnott. Jesus Christ is my Master, my Lord. Who serves what? Thank you to the council member for letting your constituents know the truth, that you publicly deem yourself as completely incapable and uninterested in protecting your constituents from the attacks of a malicious and cruel animal, the bear. The truth is now known that a vicious animal is smarter and more capable than you apparently are. Previously, a council member said, let Morgan McGarvey deal with it. The truth is, Morgan McGarvey, the democratic corporate warmonger who enriches his children upon the shed blood of human beings, I am confident many Louisville council members' stock portfolios in the weapons contracting industry mirror his. The truth is that there are council members here who are of the party affiliation that runs around waving Bibles in my face while professing, law and order, we are the ones with the superior moral compass. Question, is truth upon your lips? Proverbs, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord. Also Proverbs, the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Previously, a council member said, local, my focus is local. Well, the truth is decisions of the federal level affect resources, tax dollars of the local level. As special needs children in Louisville lack care, many of you support U.S. tax dollars contributing to a foreign theocracy government that forces conscription upon its own citizens. It demands that they kill. That same foreign government where U.S. tax dollars support their government funded abortion where it is legal and widely accessible. And after the overturning of Roe versus Wade, the restrictions have been even more loosened. Socialistic abortion. What a religion. God's chosen ones aborting children, which U.S. tax dollars contribute to. Mayor Greenberg has said, I'm going to get tough on crime. Well, the truth is, we all know what that translates to. Arrest more and black, brown people. What about the Israeli official pedophile who was arrested in Las Vegas and let free to flee to Israel with complete impunity by the current administration? Is Mayor Greenberg going to do or say anything about that? Letters were put in the mail today addressed to all council members. I would appreciate a prompt and response.
Thank you. Alex Roberts?
Hi there. When I bought my home in 2016 on Main Street, I thought I had made a good decision to stay in the neighborhood and buy instead of rent. After I bought my home, I was told by others that live in the area that D.D. Williamson were good neighbors, and there were limited issues with their facility. Heck, a tree even fell from their property onto mine within the first month of me residing in my home. I should have taken that as a sign. It wasn't until I actually started digging into the news reports, the 2003 explosion, and researching incidents, 2012 flooding, that occurred in, on, and or around the property that I started to connect the dots in regards to the front the company was presenting outwardly versus their actions. I regularly would have dumpster noise complaints, noxious smell complaints, even the trucks coming to and from the facility would destroy the traffic island at least once every 6 months, not to mention mobile paving leaving the neighborhood. They were not good neighbors. In November to December of 2021, things escalated beyond a nuisance when a 3-inch water line was broken during their non-permitted and non-inspected installation of 2 reconditioned cook tanks. I came home from my holidays to a backyard that was turning into a swamp, and by April, trees in my backyard were falling and my basement was starting to take on water. The company was completely unaware of the amount of water that they were emitting into the ground and around their property. They continued production and even stated they had to finish batches of their product before fixing this massive leak. They did as little as they could to remedy the situation on my end and make my property whole again. Not to mention, there was no getting my time back. In 2022, for almost 9 months, I was dealing with the turmoil and the upheaval in my life because of D.D. Williamson, Japan. Elaine Gravatt, the CEO at the time, and Matt Verkulen, the facility manager, were both intricately aware of the correlation between the installation of the cook tanks and the 3-inch water line breaking. I had emails to prove that. This shows that they knew their installation didn't go properly from day one, but they didn't choose to let those cook tanks be inspected retroactively like a good industrial citizen would. They just continued business as usual. After the incident in 2022, I continued to have issues with smells, loud noise, and property maintenance that emanated from the DBW Dividend property, and I continued to report these things to Air Pollution Control, Code Enforcement, MSD, EMA, KYDEP, 311, etc. All of this is to say that all of my reporting did nothing to get the property properly inspected, and my complaints did nothing to help the people that were directly affected by the explosion on 11/12/2024. They killed 2 and injured 11. Rezone the place.
Thank you. Michael O'Leary?
Michael Leary, 1963 Haines Street, Cook neighborhood. I had heart surgery several weeks ago. The only time I left my home was to go to my doctor's office and rehab. But I came here tonight to disagree with my husband to support Councilman Owen's resolution in regards to 1901 Queen Street. Explosion, March 2nd, 1996. Railroad tank car parked at D.D. Williamson, lit at 2 a.m. The chemical had been sealed in a 1,700 gallon tank car. When it exposed to the air, the chemical composition changed to ammonia isosulfate. The car's 80-pound metal lid was thrown 2 blocks and landed on the roof of 118 Stoll Avenue. April 11, 2003, explosion. The pressure relief valve could have prevented the explosion on April 11, 2003 at 2:10 a.m. The explosion killed plant employee Louis Perry, forced the evacuation of 26 nearby residents. The explosion destroyed the B. Williamson plant. April 5th, 2019, near explosion. Per fire department report, at 17 minutes after midnight, carbon product in the Harper unit overheated, cooling system not able to get ahead of the overheating process. Harper unit currently at 300 degrees, relief valve operating intermittently, engine company 21 placed an unmanned lift fire from a safe distance into the operation. Plant personnel evacuated a block away because they feared the plant would explode. June 3rd, 2024, near explosion at 4:40 a.m. Per fire department report, fire upstairs has already flared back once. The structural plant has been evacuated. November 12, 2024 at 3 p.m., Kevin Dawson Jr. and Austin Jagger died. 11 plant members, other employees were hurt. The plant was destroyed due to tank pressure due to overpressurization from a failed automatic bit. Significant damage to residential homes and businesses. My home is 800 feet from the explosion. My home was damaged. My husband and I were at home. We felt the explosion in our chest from the way. According to the ATF, at 12:22 p.m., the equipment was loaded and put in operation. At 2:46 p.m., pressure exceeded 12 psi. Operation turned off steam to coil and open cooler valve to induce cooling water. At 2:49 p.m., cold water is flowing through the coil product at 308 degrees. At 2:57 p.m., 28 seconds, the plant exploded. We Cookie neighbors are asking the body to please support the resolution from Councilman Owen to have planning commission consider review to downzone the property from industrial to a more reasonable that would reflect or and complement our residential neighborhood.
Mr. President, that concludes the list, Council.
Next, we have approval of council minutes for the regular meeting of December 4th, 2025. Is there any corrections or deletions?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? These minutes are approved as written. Next, we have approval of the following committee meetings. All in 2025. The regular committee of the whole, December 4th. The regular planning and zoning, December 9th. The regular labor and economic development, December 9th. The regular public works, December 9th. The regular government oversight audit appointments, December 9th. The regular equity, community affairs, housing, health, and education, December 10th. The regular appropriations, December 10th. The regular ad hoc committee on the deficiencies of boards and commissions, December 10th. The regular parks and sustainability committee, December 11th. The regular budget committee meeting, December 11th. Are there any corrections or deletions?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
In opposition. The minutes are approved as written. Our next order of business is the consent calendar. The consent calendar comprises items 16 through 46. Are there any additions or deletions? Madam Clerk, a second reading of those items.
Final legislation was forwarded from the Appropriations Committee, item 16, an ordinance appropriating $20,900 from neighborhood development funds in the following manner. $14,400 from District 13, $5,000 from District 25, $1,000 from District 14, and $500 from District 4 through the Office of Management Budget to the Fairfield Fire Protection District for the purchase of a tractor, bucket loader, and pallet forks. Item 17, the ordinance appropriating $6,440 from District 10 Neighborhood Development Funds to the Office of Management Budget to Day Spring Foundation, Inc. for costs associated with vacuum renovations in its College of Living program. The following legislation was forwarded from the Budget Committee Item 18, an ordinance amending ordinance number 091, series 2025, related to the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget by transferring $25,000 from neighborhood development funds, District 19, to the Louisville Metro General Operations District 19. Item 19, an ordinance amending ordinance number 091, series 2025, related to the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget by transferring $25,000 from the neighborhood development fund, District 23, to Louisville Metro General Operations District 23. Item 20, an ordinance amending ordinance number 091, series 2025, related to the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget by transferring $50,000 from neighborhood development fund, District 1, to Louisville Metro Council General Operations District 1. Item 21, an ordinance amending ordinance number 181, series 2022, related to fiscal year 2020-2021 year-end operating budget, and ordinances number 92, series 2025, relating to the fiscal year 2025-2026 capital budget by transferring $150,000 from a project titled Norton Camp Taylor and establishing a new project titled D10 Klondike Park Improvements. Item 22, a resolution approving the Jefferson County Clerk's 2026 budget. Following legislation was forwarded from the Equity, Community Affairs, Housing, Health, and Education Committee. Item 23, and a resolution honoring Mr. Roger Abel by naming the corner of Briscoe Lane and Woodrow Way as Roger Abel Way in his honor. Item 24, a resolution honoring Colonel John E. Aubrey by naming the corner of 6th Street and Jefferson Street as Colonel John E. Aubrey Way in his honor. Item 25, a resolution honoring Barbara A. Bobby Holzclaw by naming the corner of East Liberty Street and South Winslow Street as Bobby Holzclaw Way in her honor. Following legislation was forwarded from the Government Oversight and Audit and Appointments Committee. Item 26, reappointment of Gina Harris to the Housing Authority Board, term expires August 15, 2028. Item 27, reappointment of Patricia Batista Cervera to the Board of Health, term expires July 31st, 2028. Item 28, reappointment of Yolanda Reed to the Human Relations Advocacy Board, term expires September 30th, 2028. Item 29, reappointment of Margaret Sweeney to the Human Relations Commission Enforcement Board, term expires September 30th, 2028. Item 30, reappointment of Mark Benitez to the Planning Commission, term expires October 1st, 2028. Item 31, appointment of Bridget Johnson to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, term expires December 31st, 2027. Item 32, reappointment of Kimberly Sickles to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, term expires December 31st, 2028. Item 33, appointment of Robert Blair to the Air Pollution Control District Board, term expires June 30th, 2026. Item 34, appointment of Terrence Elliott to the Anti-Displacement Commission, term expires June 26th, 2026. Item 35, appointment of Julia Williams to as the Director of the Trust to the Environmental Trust Oversight Board. Item 36, appointment of Josh Zeke to the Louisville Convention and Visitors Bureau, term expires August 16, 2028. Item 37, reappointment of Rebecca Kostrick to the Louisville Trees Advisory Committee, term expires August 29, 2028. Item 38, reappointment of Anitra Beatty to the Louisville Trees Advisory Committee, term expires August 29, 2028. Item 39, reappointment of Helen Hacker to the Louisville Trees Advisory Committee, term expires August 29, 2028. Item 40, a reappointment of Ben Cecil to the Louisville Trees Advisory Committee, term expires August 29, 2028. Item 41, appointment of Spencer Heckey to the Louisville Trees Advisory Committee, term expires August 29, 2028. Item 42, appointment of LaDonna Barnett to the Louisville Trees Advisory Committee, term expires August 29, 2027. Following legislation was forwarded from the Labor Economic Development Committee. Item 43, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation of funds following non-competitively negotiated professional service contract for the Louisville Metro Department of Public Health and Wellness to pay for health economic services, University of Louisville, $59,571. Item 44, a resolution determining real property located at 1495 South 11th Street and 1800 South 7th Street is surplus and not needed for the governmental purposes of Metro government and authorizing their transfer. Item 45, a resolution ratifying and approving a collective bargaining agreement from the date of its approval through June 30, 2030, relating to the wages, benefit, and other terms and conditions of employment between Louisville Jefferson County government and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, AFL-CIO, CLC, IBEW Local 369, concerning certain employees of the Louisville Metro Emergency Services Metro site. Safe. The following legislation was forwarded from Public Works Committee. Item 46, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept $750,000 from the Commonwealth of Kentucky's Transportation Cabinet for the Plantside Drive Extension project to be administered by the Department of Public Works and Asset Rental.
Motion.
Second.
The consent calendar is brought before us. Madam Clerk, open the roll.
Councilmember Parrish Wright?
Yes.
That's okay. Councilmember Bratcher?
Yes.
Mr. President, you have 25 yes votes.
The consent calendar passes. The next item of business is old business. Madam Clerk, reading item 47 now.
In order to appropriating $16,500 from neighborhood development funds in the following manner: $15,000 from District 6 and $1,500 from District 10 through the Office of Management and Budget to La Casita Center, Inc. for their food and basic needs distribution program as amended. Read and full.
Second.
Items brought before us. Councilman Parker, this came out of your committee. You have the floor, madam.
Yes, thank you. I will, let the sponsor speak to this. And I believe it's Councilman Son.
JP, better floor.
Item 16.
This is item 47. This is the, La Casita.
Oh, okay. Councilman Bridger.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. President. This is an appropriation from our discretionary spending here in District 6 to support the fantastic work that is done by La Casita Center. They're located in District 6, but they truly serve every corner of Jefferson County, meeting needs that cannot be met otherwise, serving a population that really needs an organization like La Casita that they know that they can trust and that they can go to when they have pressing issues in their lives, like food insecurity, just specifically to support their program, to give people basic needs, access, sanitary products, food, and truly, as we've been discussing for several months now, this is a pressing issue throughout our community, and the population that La Casita serves really doesn't have anywhere else to turn to, and the work that they do there is fantastic. I've loved being a supporter of La Casita, and I'm very, very proud to make this appropriation, and I hope you'll join me in helping support this program.
Councilman Winkler, you guys can now cue me the floor.
Thank you. This is an organization that I used to volunteer at and help people take the citizenship test, and would give $500.
Councilwoman Parrish Wright.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an organization I do want to state that I am a board member of. I do not financially benefit from it, but I would like to contribute $3,300 from District 3.
Councilwoman Chapel.
Sure. $750 from District 15.
Councilman Owen.
$1,000 from District 9.
Councilwoman Rudy. $1,250 from 21. Councilman Hardiman.
$1,000 from District 4.
Madam Clerk, report $2,500 from District 26.
We don't need it over here.
$2,500.
District 1, 1,500.
District 5, 500.
District 8, 1,000.
District 13, 500, please.
District 24, 250.
Just getting the cube bumped over here. Okay. I've got no one else in my queue.
Just out of curiosity, Madam Clerk, what does that put the total to?
Your total's at $31,050, and the total ask was $57,500.
Thank you to everyone who has generously supported from your district funds.
Motion.
Second. We have the proposed amended version before us. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? In opposition, we now have the amended version before us.
Motion.
Clerk, this requires a roll call vote.
Councilmember Bratcher?
My green button is working, so I'm a yes.
Mr. President, you have 26 yes votes.
The ordinance is adopted. Remember that when you're considering your decision on that new computer system. Madam Clerk, read item number 48, please.
In
An ordinance appropriating $4,000 from neighborhood development funds in the following manner: $4,000 from District 21 through the Office of Management and Budget to Children Have Options Choosing Experiences, Inc. for costs associated with its Dare to Dream sports leadership and mentoring program.
Motion. Second.
Items properly before us, Councilman Parker, this came out of your committee, you have the floor, madam.
Yes, this is sponsored by Councilwoman Ruiz, so I'll let you speak to it.
Councilman Ruth.
Okay, thank you very much. So Choice Inc. is operating in numerous schools and different programs, but for this particular program, they're going to be operating at Iroquois High School. And the goal of their program is to have student athletes mentoring younger students. So it's a good opportunity for the mentors to learn advocacy and proper communication and all those social skills that we know everybody needs. And it's also a good opportunity for the younger students to have a good quality role models. And they've been operating in Choice Inc. for several years, and they have not come before us, I believe, asking for NDF money previously. So I do ask for your support for this. Thank you very much.
Well, I've got no one in my queue. Oh, there we are. Right now in my queue, I'm showing for item 48, my first is Councilman Parrish Wright. Okay. One more reason to consider these. Councilman Bratcher, you got the floor.
From 22.
Councilman Joseph.
500 from 12.
Councilman Parrish Wright.
Thank you. 1,300 from District 3.
Councilman Reno Weber.
500 from District 8.
Councilman Hawkins.
500 from District 1. I'm sorry, how many?
I've got Councilman Chapel.
250 from D15.
I've got no one else in my queue. Councilman Owens.
500 from 9.
Anyone else? All right, we have the proposed amended version before us.
Motion to amend? Second.
All right, that's before us now, and this voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, now we have the amended version before us. And clerk, open the roll call for the amended version.
Mr. President, you have 26 yes votes.
The ordinance is adopted. Madam Clerk, reading item 49.
An ordinance amending section 115 of the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances regarding homeless shelter regulations as amended, read in full.
Motion. Second.
Items brought before us, Councilman Owens, this came out of your committee, read for, sir.
Caught me a little bit off guard. So we, accessory overnight shelters, we passed some legislation recently and needed to update the guidance to accompany that. And as it got colder, we got a little bit more concerned that we weren't doing it quickly enough. And so we did do some emergency legislation at our last meeting and got this in front of us, and did a lot of good work from both sides to agree on this, on these guidelines. And so would really like to get this passed so everyone knows what the guidelines are that they're dealing with, so they can open accessory overnight shelters for people during the cold weather that we're experiencing right now. So we'd love for everyone to join this effort. Thank you.
Councilwoman Rudy, I believe you sponsored this.
Yes, I did sponsor it, and first of all, thank you everybody for staying the other night and saying yes, because that was a very long night. Thank you, and yes, we did need to really get this on the agenda since planning and design finally did get everything together the way they wanted it. And so we are here now to vote on it and make it official. So the changes in there from what's a normal homeless shelter is we've taken out the requirement for TB tests, because that's not realistic for people who are volunteers and maybe volunteering for one night. And we've added a section about requiring that someone being on staff and during operating hours. So those are really the big changes in there. Everything else was just adding an accessory overnight shelter to it. So I ask for your support of this tonight. Thank you very much.
I see no other speakers in the queue. I'm going to open the roll.
Mr. President, you have 26 yes votes.
The ordinance is adopted. Madam Clerk, read by number 50.
A resolution requesting the planning commission consider rezoning the property located at 1901 Payne Street to a lower, more appropriate zoning classification. Bring it forward.
Motion. Second. Second.
This item is properly before us. Councilman Owen, this came out of your committee. The floor, sir.
Thank you, President Eckerson. So you guys heard earlier this evening a couple of my constituents talk about the long-standing issues at this particular property. I'll just give you a little bit of kind of my experience here. When I heard that plant had exploded, I was sitting here and left after a committee meeting ended and went straight to the plant. And once I kind of figured out that emergency management was there and things were kind of under control, I didn't really know what to do with myself. And so I started knocking on doors on Payne Street and just asking people if they were okay. And the one family that I remember more than any other, and there were a lot of crazy things to see, but one man came to the door and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "No, I'm not." And he took me to the back of his house and took me to his young daughter's bedroom. And there was what looked like a piece of metal, like an old-time cannonball, laying on his daughter's floor. And that piece of metal had not come through the window. That piece of metal had blown a hole through the back of the house and then hit the interior wall and fell on the... And so you can imagine that the father and mother who had been in the house when that happened, the daughter thankfully was not in the house at the time, were rattled quite a bit by that experience. And I've heard, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard from the people in Clifton around this facility. We've had neighbors that were diagnosed with PTSD as a result of this episode. And so I'll tell you from a council person's standpoint, I've kind of made light of it, that nobody ever taught me when I came into office how to deal with an industrial facility explosion in my district. That's not something that they do in orientation. But I can tell you that I have felt the entire time in dealing with Clifton and trying to help neighbors deal with these issues, I have felt completely helpless. It's been something where I've tried to host community meetings, we've talked through issues, we've done the best we can as a community, but I have felt completely helpless. And so this resolution, finally, I feel like there's something that I can do that says to my neighbors, I heard you. And the first thing that they said to me after this happened was, we have got to make sure this never happens again. So what we've done here is we've asked the Planning Commission to take a look at the zoning. It has M2 zoning, which is a very intense industrial zoning. And it's grandfathered in, it's non-conforming rights. And we've asked them to look at it and say, can you look at it and determine a zoning that makes more sense, given that it is surrounded pretty much on every side by residential homes. And I know I've spoken to many of you about this issue, and I know a lot of the pushback is because this is government proactively asking the Planning Commission to downzone a property. And that's a little bit unusual. We have the power to do that, but it's a little bit unusual. And I understand and frankly agree theoretically with that kind of philosophy. Like, I don't think we as a metro government should proactively be pulling zoning out from under operating companies and changing the rules on them, frankly, and affecting their businesses. In this case, in part because of all of the things that you heard my constituents say earlier tonight, this is an extremely unique case. So because of that, if you come to me, or if anyone came to me with a property that exhibited many of the criteria that my constituents talked about earlier, multiple explosions, doing significant property damage to the residential houses around it, and fatalities each time, in addition to all the ongoing issues that we've had at this facility, then I would say, sure, that's one that we should look at as well, because we've given them multiple opportunities to fix the issues and it hasn't been fixed. In this case, I think it's extremely unique situation, and I think, frankly, it's the least we as Metro government we can do to respond to what my constituents have asked for in this case. So I understand. I don't expect that this will become precedent unless you bring to me an industrial facility that has exploded multiple times with fatalities and has similar issues to what we have here at this juvenile facility. So I hope you guys can support me on this. Again, we aren't making a recommendation as to what they come back with. We're just asking the Planning Commission to look at it and hopefully come up with a zoning that's more appropriate for this area. Thank you.
Councilman Bratcher, you're next to my queue. You have the floor.
I defer to my vice chair, Will Bastion.
Councilman Bashon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilman. Colleagues, I'm extremely empathetic to the situation. Councilman, I hear everything you're saying, and very little is going to get me to disagree with what you're saying. But what I'm saying is I'm a little bit opposed to doing a resolution to downzone a property. And I think it's a harmful way that sets a bad precedent moving forward. For example, if the Planning Commission comes back and says, we can do this, such and such, there's gonna be a loophole that everybody that is not happy with an industrial something in their community will start to make noise about downzoning or rezoning that property in that area. You know, there's explosions that happen in Burgertown all the time and lives are lost. We want to make sure that we are not, setting the standard and being unclear of what's going on. And I think we risk the Kentucky take-back law opening up Pandora's box and lawsuits and destabilizing the zoning. I think that's where we can do a better job of holding accountability on properties with binding elements, and things to ensure that this never happens again. So I'm gonna be opposed to this resolution.
Councilman Reed, you're next to my queue. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a very quick question. So this is going back to the Planning Commission. Will there be public hearings like any other new zoning case?
Honestly, Travis, I think you'd be better to answer that than I would be.
Travis Feaster, Assistant County Attorney. So yes, after this process, this is just the initiation. KRS allows for a number of ways for rezonings to be initiated, but as soon as this process is over, the council will pass this resolution, it would proceed like any other zoning case. It would be area-wide rezoning, which means there would be a development plan associated, so it would just be rezoning the parcel. But otherwise,
It would be coming back with a recommendation, and then it would come back to the Planning Commission, and it would go through the regular, normal planning and zoning process.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Marino Weber.
Thank you. I also normally would be opposed to this, except that for an operating business, I think there are sufficient protections within existing Kentucky law so that this would be grandfathered in. So I do think that the idea of setting a precedent here is not what we want to be doing. I also think that the idea of recognizing that some things have changed, that certain areas are not appropriate any longer or are appropriate now in different ways is something that is actually a really important recognition. So if this were to continue to operate, I think there's sufficient protections for that business. so that I don't feel the same anxieties that I normally would around this kind of thing. So I will be in support of this.
Councilman Ruby, the floor. Thank you very much. So, if I was hearing that the officials at Givaudan were concerned and were prepared to fight and et cetera, but I don't hear that. I hear them accepting this, and they've already stated that they will not plan to rebuild at this site, and I cannot see any other heavy industry wanting to go in there, and the eventuality is it's probably going to be rezoned. It's grandfathered in right now, and it's no longer an appropriate use for that space. Therefore, I am in support of this. It's certainly a way for them in the longer term to get that site ready to be sold and put to a safer, better use, more appropriate for the space. Thank you.
Councilman Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. President. If in fact Givaudan is interested in the downzoning, or if they're not opposed to it, that changes the conversation considerably. But before we get into that kind of conjecture, in my term in office, in my years here, one of the things that I remember being reminded consistently is that when we're talking about zoning issues, we're not talking about property owners, and we're not talking about businesses, and we don't get to decide if we like the business or don't like the business. The zoning is on the property. It's not on the owner of the business. It's not on the type of businesses there. It's that piece of property is zoned for this particular use. That's what zoning is. So if we don't like what, my heart goes out. I hear Councilman Owens' arguments, and I have to say, I can only imagine that feeling of helplessness. And I can understand every single person who lives within not just the earshot of the explosion, but all of the fallout from it, whether that be literal physical fallout or the fallout. I get the anger and frustration around a company that has allowed this to happen over and over. But we're not zoning a company. It's a piece of property. And so my concern is that when we get into this place where we decide we're going to determine how to regulate specific companies, not types of industry, but specific companies by zoning property that they're on in a way that prevents them from doing what the zoning had allowed them to do. That to me is a scary prospect. And again, my heart goes out. I understand the place that you're in, but I still have to look at, did that property, is that the problem? And the problem is the company, not the property. Maybe the property, maybe the company, that type of company doesn't belong in that particular type of location. But if that's the argument you're going to make, I'd say, folks, be very careful this evening, because if that's the argument you're going to make, we are going after every other company that is operating in any area that we would look back on later and say, oh, by the way, this doesn't fit here, so we're going to downzone that. Because you're either downzoning the company, which I don't think we have the authority to do. I think that's a huge mistake. Or we're downzoning the property, and if we're downzoning the property, then every other property that meets the same stipulation should also be downzoned. That creates a huge nightmare from my perspective. And I understand you're only asking the planning commission, but we're still taking a step in that direction. So if Givaudan is, in fact, if Councilwoman Marie is right, I hope she is, Givaudan is okay with this, then let them come back and ask for it. And then we can all vote, in good conscience. Otherwise, I think we just create for ourselves a problem in the long run.
Councilman Leninger, next, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to speak in favor of this downzoning of this property. And the property is currently zoned for too intensive a use, which allows for the risk to the residential property surrounding it. This is a clear public interest that we can take here to protect residents in a densely populated residential area that surrounds this piece of property that has too high intensive an industrial use that is creating a danger to the community. I think that there is no reason for us to talk about slippery slopes, which is a logical fallacy, and instead we should just look at the facts before us that this property is too intensely zoned for the residential properties around it. It has created a significant physical hazard, the people that live there, destruction of their property, and we have a duty to act to protect those people. I will be voting in favor of this. And frankly, if people want to talk about other properties in Rubbertown where people are also harmed, where our residents are also harmed, guess what? I think we should take a look at that too. And I don't know that I'm a majority of the members of this council, but that's what I think.
Councilman Parrish Wright, you're next in my queue, in format.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's hard to follow it up because I totally agree. I'm trying to think of what I can say different. I fully support this, but hearing from residents who were directly impacted by this, thinking about Councilman Owen and being really truthful about having to be reactionary and do what he can and knock on those doors, and now being proactive, and this is a resolution asking for the planning and zoning, for them to reconsider this. I think that that is the right step. That is our job. This is not illegal. It's not an attack on the business, but it's a response to the community who are impacted by this. And lives have been lost. And maybe if that second explosion didn't happen, or third, or whatever one it was, then we would have those lives here and we wouldn't be talking about this right now. But it is our job, while it's our turn, while we're serving right now. This happened in November of 2024, and here we are in December of 2025 saying, hey, let's be proactive. I support this because the community has spoken out in support of this, and we're here to represent them. And I commend Councilman Owen for taking this forward, and I think it's a polite ask. I don't even think this is like hardcore. And if it sets a precedent that we're gonna react to our communities that are harmed, then damn well let's set it. Thank you.
Councilman Herndon, you're next in my queue, you have the floor.
If the company who does the harm asks for the downzoning, that's okay, but if the citizens who are harmed harmed, injured, or in some cases killed ask for it, that's not okay? I don't understand that reasoning, so I'll be voting yes.
I see no one else in my queue. Madam Clerk, this is something that would normally require a voice vote, however, I'm gonna call for a roll call. And open the roll, please.
Mr. President, you have 17 yes votes and 9 no votes.
The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk, reading by item number 51.
A resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinance approving the appropriation of the following non-competitive negotiated professional service contract for the Cabinet of Economic Development for consulting services regarding permanent supportive housing. To use company $180,000 paid in full.
The item is brought before us, Councilman Marina Weber, this came out of your committee, the floor, sir.
So this is for a sole source with with the only organization of its kind in the country in order to help the city to craft a permanent supportive housing strategy. The reason that it is on old business is that Councilwoman Dr. McCraney had some very thoughtful questions that were not answered at the committee level. I think we have spoken since then, and you're good. So while it is on old business, we expect it to pass.
I see no one in the queue. This is a resolution that allows for a voice vote. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any in opposition? In opposition, the resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk, a reading by item number 52.
A resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the Metro government to accept the donation of a conservation easement on property owned by LCF Preservation LLC located at 3011 North Buckeye Lane in Goshen, Oldham County, Kentucky, as submitted, read in full. Motion. Second.
Item brought before us, Councilman Batchon, this came out of your committee. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. After a bunch of deliberation on this, we have talked about, like the mayor motion sent it back to committee. There's a lot of questions that are unanswered that we would like to have a little bit more conversation on.
Is there a second on the motion? We've got a motion to send this back to committee. Any No one in my queue to discuss that. This requires a voice vote to send it back to committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Going back to committee. Madam Clerk, reading item number 53.
A resolution approving the Jefferson County Sheriff's 2026 budget. Ready for vote?
Item brought before us, Councilman Winkler and Kramer. This came out of your all's committee. Either one of you care to speak to this?
Councilman Carter, do you want to speak to this or you want me to?
Colleagues, this is the sheriff's budget. It came out of the committee unanimously. However, Councilman Baldwin Ward has an abstention. That's why it's not on the consent calendar. As you know, both the clerk and the sheriff present their budget to us every year. We get an up or down vote. Again, we passed the clerk's budget on consent earlier. Sheriff's budget here is simply for the abstention. And so I don't know if Councilman Baldwin Ward would like to speak to that.
Councilwoman Baldwin Ward, you have the floor to explain your abstention.
Thank you. Yes, I'm abstaining from participation in this vote from the sheriff's budget because my husband is employed by the sheriff's office.
All right, I see no one else in the queue, Madam Clerk. Let's open the roll for roll call.
Mr. President, you have 24 yes votes, 1 present vote, and 1 abstention.
The resolution is adopted. The next item of business is new business. As you leave the chambers, please do so quietly so the clerk can read the new business. I would ask those council members that wish to make announcements to please remain in chambers and request to speak at the end of the business. New business comprises items 54 through 62.
The following legislation was assigned to Appropriations Committee. Item 54, an ordinance appropriating $2,000 from Neighborhood Development Fund and the following $2,000 from purchasing two moving parks for costs associated with the annual Forest Bluegrass Festival to be held May 16th through 26th. Item 55, an ordinance appropriating $2,000 from the Neighborhood Development Fund to
Never in my career as a lawyer.
Healthy Business Connect Us empowers families to thrive through holistic well-being, early child development, and accessible health care.
We are committed to fostering connections, knowledge sharing, and support networks that enhance the physical, mental, and emotional health of children, parents, and caregivers.
By building bridges between healthcare providers, social services organizations, educators, and families.
We aspire to create a world where every child experiences a healthy and nurturing start.
Setting the foundation for a brighter future.
Case number 25-0021. Item 60, regulating the closure of unimproved right-of-way on Mason Boulevard, adjacent to 6702 Pennsylvania Avenue, containing approximately 1.077 acres, and the only case number 25, SCR CLO SCRE 0016. Item 61, ordinance relating to the closure of unimproved right-of-way along Line Road, containing approximately 13,000 square feet.
Hey, not bad. How are you? Good to see you. Well, I suppose this is the last Facebook Live of Metro Council 2025. This moment's right here where I will share a few words and whatnot. Maybe walking to the microphone will get me in trouble, but I'll do it here, I guess. Stay live. That's pretty much all I got. Besides, Mama always said life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
All right, it's the last council meeting of the year. It's been amazing. 2025.
Seems like Councilwoman District 3 has some words. Let's listen in.
The clerks of metro government who have helped us raise, well, not just raise funds to get clothes, but get clothing for people being released from jail in need, especially now where the weather is very, very harsh. We've done an amazing job. We filled that bin many times. I don't know how long it's been.
Such a piece of.
Well, it can be in the lobby for this month. We have to use clothing shirts, pants, shoes, things like that. Please drop them off in the lobby. There is a bin there with a sign so that people in need can get that clothing, okay? This is the spirit of giving, this is the season, and a special warm thank you to Metro Plus.
We get these speakers to the data center group that I'm working on data center.
Any other announcements? This concludes the meeting. The next meeting will be held, will be our organization meeting scheduled for Thursday, January 8th at beginning at 4:30 p.m. For the written business to stand without objection adjourned.
Got it.
I'm gonna do what my granddaddy taught me to do. And stand up for family. And fight back. But people in the perspective for too long.
They don't expect that. We're not gonna have our kids marching. This is it.
Once and for all!
Justice for Patrick! Justice for Patrick! Justice for Patrick!
As a black man, I stand up for black women.
I don't wanna say another motherfucking name! Kanye Jordan! 400 years later, not a damn thing changed!
I stand up for black women because it's what I'm supposed to do.
It's all one fight. The same people that suppress the vote, they'll suppress your living rate.
It's standing up for freedom, a freedom that knows action, a love that is in action.
Enough is enough!
I'm not sleeping and I'm not done until we get justice. Ain't no curling, people don't stop. What's got to go? Hey, hey! Oh, oh! Let's go to what's got to go!
Why is everybody, why is the police fighting against us, but they're supposed to be helping us? That doesn't make sense.
If black women don't do it, then it don't get done. That's what I've heard.
When I say gun, you say no.
Don't forget what we did today. Today is history. Don't just go home and say, hey, let me post it. Live it. We just have to be stubborn enough. We just have to be strong enough. We just have to be